Hi and welcome to Stephen Helwig Talks Tech. Today, we're going to look at some of the changes that have occurred in Windows 11 versus Windows 10. One of the most prominent changes, and one that's probably had the most conversation, is about the placement of the Start menu and all of the taskbar icons. They've shifted from the left-hand side to the center, and today we're going to look at that along with all of the other adjustments that have been made to the taskbar. Okay, let's get into it. Now, when you boot into Windows 11 for the first time, if you have been a Windows user over the last decade or two, probably the first thing you'll notice is the Start menu and the fact that the Start menu is now placed in the center of the screen. Every version of Windows I've ever used has had the Start menu on the left-hand side, and so that's the first thing to get used to, is that the Start menu has now moved. The Start menu also looks different, but that really has changed quite frequently through the various versions of Windows, and the Windows 10 Start menu looked different than the Windows 8 or the Windows 7 Start menu button. But it's now shifted to the middle of the screen, as with all of the icons. And so that really has more of like a Mac feel. When I look at Mac OS, it usually has a center placement, and that's new for Windows 10. And I think maybe they're trying to say, hey, Windows is the center of your world or the center of your life. So they're moving all of your applications to the center. Now, when you click into the Start menu, the look and feel is different as well. If you're used to the normal Start menu or the Windows 10 Start menu, you're used to a list of your applications, or you're used to the live tiles that have been there popping out on the right-hand side. They've done away with a lot of that and really surfaced what they call pinned applications, and they've taken those to the top. So those are the things you use most frequently. And they also have recommendations down here. And as you use the operating system more, as you use your files more, as you use the apps more, you'll see different recommendations show up in the bottom. Now, if you still want that long list of applications, you just hit this All Apps button, and it will give you the long list of applications that you're used to on Windows. In addition, this is where you have the user information, where you can change account settings, lock the PC, sign out, as well as the Start menu if you need to update, shut down, or restart. Now, the next button we have on the Start menu is Search. And the Search menu has changed in look a little bit, not as much as maybe the Start menu has, but it offers basically the same functionality, and that's the ability to search through pretty much the entire PC, whether it's your documents, your apps, or the web, very quickly. Now, this is the predominant way that I find content on my computer. I rarely navigate through the Start menu anymore, and if you aren't using Search in Windows, you're really missing out on one of its best features. Search used to be a joke on Windows, but it has really improved since Windows 10 and is now one of my favorite power features. I generally access Search just by hitting the Windows key or the Start key on my keyboard, and I start typing. So if I wanted to find File Explorer, or if I wanted to open the calculator, that's how I would get to it. Even if I wanted to find a document, that's generally how I try to find a document on my PC. The great thing is it will even look through your OneDrive documents if you have those synced down to your computer. So if you aren't using Search, I would highly recommend it. Not much has changed here in Windows 11 except for the look and feel of the icon and a little bit of the search box. In Windows 10, they added an option called Task View that allowed you to create multiple desktops and view all of your windows on each of the screens. They've brought that ahead into Windows 11 and made some enhancements. The first thing you'll notice is that the button does look a little different, but in addition, you'll notice that I can save multiple desktops with different backgrounds. So I've made some desktops that are specific to doing video editing and gaming, and then I have one that's kind of like a default. And so every time I boot into my PC, these desktops are available. Now, the one thing that I wish they would do is allow me to pin different icons to the taskbar per desktop, and that feature is not there yet. That would really enhance the productivity of these virtual desktops, but I do like that I can kind of switch mentally into these different spaces depending on what I'm going to be doing at that time on the PC, and it switches really quickly. In addition, when you click the Task View button, let me go back to this default desktop here. When you click the Task View button, it will also show you what windows you have open at that time. So if I was to click the button, you'd see it show me all of the windows that I had open, and it shows you across multiple desktops. Of course, I'm only showing you my center monitor, but on my outside screens, you would also see the windows that I had open. So this is a really nice way. You can actually drag and move things between desktops if I wanted to move it from the default to the video editing or to the gaming desktop, or even create a new desktop. I could drag it here and would automatically populate a new desktop. If you right click on one of the desktops, you can go in and rename it. You can move it right or left if you wanted to shift the positioning here, or choose a different background. You can also grab it and drag it around. So if I wanted to move the default desktop to the end instead of the front, I could do that and it would move the desktop as well. Now the next area on our taskbar is the widget area. Microsoft has added this widgets area to bring together a bunch of different things that might be interesting to you, the user. Whether it's weather or sports or stocks or your most recent photos or your on this day photos from OneDrive, you can add widgets that bring this together. So you can see here some of the default options. It's showing me weather, it's showing me stocks. If I had my OneDrive connected and I had any photos in this profile, it would show me some photos here, sports, and then down here I can scroll to read various news articles. Now I can customize these widgets. For instance, I could say I wanted to view this as large to show more stock, or I could add some stocks to my watch list. If I wanted to customize this, I wanted to add Microsoft stock, for instance. I could add that to the watch list and now it would show up here. In addition, I could change the location where this is showing me weather, or add my favorite sports teams. There are additional widgets they have available as well. Family safety, my to-do list. I could add traffic, entertainment tips, or even bring in my calendar. You can also personalize your news feed. If you click this button, it's actually going to open up in the browser your Microsoft account and allow you to go through and select specific areas of interest that you have across a variety of categories. This is not an account that I use that often, so I'm not going to go ahead and set that up. But the widgets overall, it's a neat little new wrinkle that Microsoft's adding to Windows 11. We'll see how much users take to it. I've been using it recently, specifically really just to check on weather. Like if I'm on my PC, I'll click it just so I can see what the forecast is for the next few days, or to check on the stock portfolio. Now the next area we have are our icons, our app icons, and there isn't a ton to show here. It really works very similar to the way Windows icons have worked for a long time. The one thing I will show you, and the new feature that I'm getting used to and I really like, is that it saves the groupings of your applications. So for instance, if I open this file explorer and I had one on the right and one on the left, right? And I've minimized both of them. Well, it actually saves the grouping of how I had it configured visually before, and I can select that to bring it back up. This is really useful just from a workflow perspective. If you have multiple applications you're working with and you've set them up really nicely and then you minimize them or you bring something else up over it, to be able to get back to that configuration without having to go and set it up again. So mostly the icons, it's the same. The menus that you have available to you are the same. The only thing that I think has changed significantly that I really like is the ability to get back to your grouping of applications very quickly. Another change that's been made in Windows 11 are the taskbar settings and right-click options. In Windows 10, you had a lot of options when you would right-click on the taskbar, and in Windows 11, you just have an option that says taskbar settings. Now, one of the biggest things that's missing from the right-click for me is the ability to access the task manager. Now you can still access the task manager when you right click on the start menu, but I loved the quick ability to right click on anywhere on the taskbar and get to the task manager like I had in Windows 10. Now all of the taskbar settings have been moved into the new and revised settings menu. I'll do another video on the settings menu later on. But here you can turn off things like search, task view, widgets, and chat, which is really the integration of Teams into Windows itself. There are other options such as pen, touch keyboard, virtual touch pad, and then as well the overflows, the corner overflow, or the sys tray icons. You can pick which ones you want to show up. So if I was to turn off OneDrive, you would see it would disappear from here. If I turn it back on, it shows up again. And I could even turn on Task Manager to be a part of this task menu as well. In addition, there are taskbar behaviors. So if I wanted to automatically hide the taskbar, it would be here. If I wanted to move it back to the left, where many of us are familiar with it, I could do it here as well. You can show badges. That means little numbers will pop up. Say if you had unread emails or unread messages, it would pop up here. You can show your taskbar across all displays. If I was using all three of my monitors, this option would become available, and I can change what shows on those taskbars as well. And here I can select the far corner of the taskbar to show the desktop. So right over here, if I wanted to show the desktop, I could click that. The last area on our taskbar is the system tray. And the system tray has been a part of Windows for a long time, but it's gotten some updates and facelift here in this most recent version. Now, you're probably used to your icons here that show kind of running apps or background apps that are running, and you can show hidden ones. You can even make changes to make this kind of extend out if you want to show additional apps. I'm not going to go into those settings. A new icon that's appeared is this microphone icon. Now, initially, I was hoping that this would be a button to let me mute and unmute the microphone very quickly for the entire system. But unfortunately, it just opens up your microphone settings and microphone privacy settings, which isn't quite as useful. I'll probably go into that in a future video, but that's what it does. It just opens up microphone privacy settings. It shows you which apps are accessing your microphone currently and allows you to turn off access to individual applications, which is nice, I guess. If you have applications and you're concerned with them listening in on you, you can shut off entirely access to the microphone to that application. Let's get to the meteor settings. The next one are your networking and your sound settings. And in addition, there are additional settings when you click on this button. So you see I have my Wi-Fi settings here. If I click out, I can go and select my various Wi-Fi networks. I can turn on airplane mode. This is a desktop, so probably not that important for me. You can turn on night light, which is a great feature that changes the way that your screens emit color for allowing you to kind of shut down at the end of the night and not have so much blue light. And then your focus assist settings. I personally leave priority only on all the time so that I don't have constant notifications popping up. Other folks like alarms only, or they like to see their notifications. I do priority only, and you can change that here if you just click the button multiple times. So that's how you change your focus assist settings. In addition, it has accessibility settings where if you want to turn on magnifier or color filters, some other things, you can do that very quickly. And then your sound settings. I can adjust my volume quickly here, and I can also access, or after muting, I can actually go to my entire sound settings if I wanted to change my output device, my input device, or adjust other audio settings. So this is a really quick way to access your audio settings. You can also edit the screen. So if you wanted to add other features here, such as cast or others, you can add that to this. For a laptop, I might use cast. For a desktop, probably not. But there are additional features that you can add or settings you can add to the screen. Lastly is an overall settings button if you wanted to adjust this. The last area is your calendar and also your notifications. So the notifications are up here, and it also shows you your focus assist settings where you can scroll through your various notifications. This has been a part since Windows 10. It's gotten a facelift. It certainly looks different. The calendar as well, you can do kind of a maximized calendar view or a minimized view. I personally use calendar a ton, so I always have it in the maximized view, and I don't really use the locations that much, so I kind of leave that in this view. And that's really it. That's the bulk of the settings in the system tray menu on the right hand side. Well, that's it. I hope you enjoyed that look at the new taskbar in Windows 11. There's been a lot of updates. There's a lot of visual changes to the taskbar, but overall the functionality is the same, and there's been some good improvements. I'm sure that Microsoft will keep iterating on this taskbar to make it even better, but so far I like what they've done with the taskbar. Thanks again for joining me here on Stephen Hellwig Talks Tech. As always, we appreciate every like, subscribe, comment, and share on the channel. So if you've not yet subscribed, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. We are trying to get to 1,000 subscribers, and we are almost there. So your subscription matters. Hit the subscribe button for me today. Okay, thanks for joining me. Bye.